Never ask a woman her age, his salary, or me why the GameCube almost killed Nintendo. This is Satoru Iwata, former president of Nintendo. We love Iwata, okay? Back in the early 2000s, Nintendo wasn't doing so well. They were facing fierce competition from PlayStation 2 and the Xbox. Yes, Nintendo 64 has its success, but the company had already been hit by the failure of Virtual Boy. Nintendo needed to adapt, and that's how GameCube was born. For its time, it was one of the most powerful consoles on the market. It had a compact design, a digital video output for modern TVs, and everything seemed to be going in the right direction. So, what went wrong? For starters, it launched almost a year after the PlayStation 2, immediately putting it at disadvantage. And well, it's Nintendo. They had to be different. Instead of standard DVDs, the GameCube used mini discs. They were smaller, harder to pirate, and less likely to get scratched, but they also held much less data. That meant fewer multi-platform games compared to the competition. Meanwhile, both the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox doubled as DVD players, which was a huge selling point back then. Also, Nintendo was a little too confident. GameCube launched without its two biggest system sellers, Mario and The Legend of Zelda, of course. We eventually got Super Mario Sunshine and the Wind Waker, but Wind Waker's cel-shaded art style was controversial. At the time, fans were expecting a darker, more realistic Zelda after Nintendo's Space War 2000 demo, so the game received a mixed reaction before launch. Another strategy was partnering with Capcom to create the Capcom 5, a lineup of more major exclusive games that include Resident Evil 4. Except that didn't last very long. As the GameCube struggled, Capcom eventually brought Resident Evil 4 to other platforms. At that point, Nintendo pulled out every trick they had. They dropped the console's price to just $99. They listened to fans and later released Twilight Princess with a much more realistic art style. And that's when Nintendo realized something incredibly important for them. They couldn't beat Sony and Microsoft playing the same game. If they wanted to survive, they had to change the rule completely. And that's exactly how the Nintendo Wii was born. But we'll talk about that in the next video.